You're listening to Humans in the Loop. We explore the systems that govern our working lives, how they're built, how they break, and who gets left behind, told through stories, satire, and the kind of perspective you get from living slightly out of sync. Before we start, a milestone. This is episode 21. What you're about to hear, it makes us officially part of the 1%. Not that 1%. No yachts, no hedge funds, just stubborn persistence. Only about 1% of podcasts make it this far. Apparently, this is one of them. Most shows pod fade before anyone remembers their name. But you kept listening, which means we kept going. So thank you. You're the reason we're still here. Today on Humans in the Loop, what if being seen as reliable meant never being allowed to fall apart? This is Meena's story. She showed up brilliantly, dependably, invisibly. She was praised for being low maintenance. But what no one saw were the layers of masking, the childhood fawning instincts repurposed as professionalism, and the slow erosion of her boundaries. It's a story about masking misread strength and the kind of growth that starts with reparenting yourself at work. I'm Ezra Strix. We'll be right back. But first, if you've ever fallen apart quietly in the margins between meetings, this one's for you.
At Kindly Unravel, falling apart isn't failure, it's data. Our clinicians understand masking, executive dysfunction, and that jolt of dread when you hear the phrase, "let's circle back." Sliding scale, no pressure, no toxic positivity. Just one quiet place to say, "I'm actually not okay." And here, that makes sense. Now offering sessions short enough to wedge in between panic meetings. Unravel with us. No performance required. Kindly unravel. You don't have to make it look graceful.
Sometimes what looks like strength is just someone trying not to break in public. Kindly unravel isn't real, but we wish it were. If your product or service supports real humans in real moments of overwhelm, reach out through the contact form at loopedinhumans.com. We're always looking for sponsors who show up with care.
Mom? Shh.
Meena had the reputation every company wants: reliable, positive, detail-oriented. She kept her camera on, her inbox at 0, her voice measured, even when her house was on fire, figuratively speaking.
I was the glue, but like the invisible kind. No one noticed I was holding it all together until I stopped.
Her manager called her a joy to work with, which meant she never asked for anything. Meena believed in showing up, even when daycare closed, even when her marriage was in trouble, even when she hadn't slept more than 4 hours in a week.
I once gave a QBR from the school pickup car line. My manager said, "That's commitment," then asked if I could mute the background noise next time.
She worked through stomach bugs, parent-teacher calls, and one actual panic attack with a smile and a signature line that read, "Always happy to help."
I used to think saying yes made me safe. Maybe that's just what happens when you grow up having to read the room before you could even read.
Then one day, during a routine check-in with her manager, she couldn't smile anymore.
Hey, you okay? You don't seem like yourself.
I said I was fine. And I cried for 2 hours after the call because I wasn't fine. I was just trained to seem that way.
There was no grand rupture, no leave of absence to mark the breaking point. Only a widening gap between what she gave and what she had left, until the silence itself became unbearable. And in that silence, she finally chose herself.
I stopped trying to please my way into belonging, stopped cushioning other people's discomfort, Started saying no, and not today, and I need to log off now. Started asking what I needed. Started reparenting the part of me that thought showing up as a person was unprofessional.
Turns out Meena didn't need to work harder. She needed space to stop performing and connection to start healing after the break.
Threadbare understands that connection isn't always immediate. Sometimes it's delayed, sometimes it's wordless, sometimes it's just quietly loyal. Use the app to send soft re-entry pings like, "I saw this, I care, I needed time." Browse low-pressure phrases like, "You don't owe me energy, I'm just glad you exist." Or let it hold the message while you figure out if you're ready to be seen. Or don't use the app. Maybe this month, you need something you can hold. That's where the subscription box comes in. Pre-stamped postcards, sensory-friendly stationery, fidget tools to help you regulate while you write, and affirmations like showing up doesn't always mean being present. Threadbare won't fix the fear of being too much or not enough, but it can help you stay close, gently, inconsistently, and with love that doesn't expire when the conversation pauses. Threadbare, because disappearing isn't disconnection. It's just how some of us hold on.
Threadbare, it won't rush the moment. It just reminds you that the moment can still come if what you're creating tends to the in-between. The quiet ache, the late reply, the love that lingers anyway. We'd love to help it reach the ones who need it. Visit loopedinhumans.com and find us through the contact form. We believe in products with heart and in people who don't give up, even when it's been a while. The family-first culture she'd been sold didn't hold up. She saw the eye rolls when her kid popped into frame, the jokes about part-time hours when she took them to therapy, the flinch when she turned her camera off mid-migraine.
Turns out, some people only say family first when they mean their family, or when you act as though you don't have kids even though you do, or when the kids stay off screen and quiet.
But here's the thing. She didn't burn it all down. She just saw things clearly. Maybe for the first time.
You can feel it, you know? The difference between a team that tolerates your humanity and one that welcomes it.
And once you see it, you can't unsee it. She got good at spotting the signs, the small signals of a human-centered team.
Watch how they handle sick days, how they respond when someone logs off early for a school pickup, how they treat each other when no one's watching. That's where the culture lives, not in the mission statement, in the micro behaviors.
She didn't harden. She didn't shut down. She softened into herself.
I started blocking time for things I used to squeeze in with guilt, like school calls or just catching my breath. I stopped apologizing for being human and started honoring what that actually means.
What emerged wasn't a weaker version of Meena. It was a truer one, rooted, clear, with boundaries that didn't close her off. They held her together. And now, she doesn't try to pass. She doesn't aim to impress. She aims to belong.
I do great work, but now I do it as a person, not a persona.
There's a cost to always seeming fine, to being the dependable one, the easy one, the one who never needs too much. For Meena, it wasn't a collapse that brought change. It was the quiet choice to stop performing and start healing. Sometimes the most radical act is saying, I need something too. Workplaces reward the mask, but they don't always know what it's hiding. This episode asked, what if strength isn't about holding it together, but about letting yourself be seen? If you felt that, if Meena's story sounded a little too familiar, share it, talk about it, and maybe unlearn some of the stories you've told yourself about what makes someone good at their job. Humans in the Loop is independent and listener-supported. You can help us keep telling stories like Meena's by subscribing, rating the show, or becoming a paid member on Patreon. Transcripts, episode notes, and more are available on our website, loopedinhumans.com. And while Kindly Unravel and Threadbare may not exist, the needs they speak to are very real. We're always looking to partner with real sponsors who support real humans too. So if that's you, reach out using the contact form on our website. More stories are on the way. Stick around.
This episode of Humans in the Loop, You Seemed Fine, was written and produced by me, Christina Simmons, creator and executive producer of this podcast. Human talent for this episode includes Dana Corvino as Meena and Rana Cassidy as Meena's manager. Our AI narrator is Ezra Strix. Rana Cassidy is our operations producer and the reason things actually get done. If this episode resonated with you, the best way to support the show is to leave a review at ratethispodcast.com/loopedinhumans. It really does help new listeners find us. You can also support the show on Patreon and follow us on socials at Looped In Humans. We've got more ahead, and the next one's close to the bone. Don't go anywhere. Ezra's about to tell you what's coming up next.
Next week on Humans in the Loop, a federal autism registry backed by conspiracy theorists.
I checked the URL 3 times, thought maybe it was a phishing scam or a hoax. It wasn't.
Framed as progress and met with silence from the people in charge, so Hannah wrote the statement, called out the harm, named what no one else would.
We were rewriting it at 10:30 p.m., 3 of us on a call, one person crying off mic. I had to mute myself to breathe into a towel. I didn't want to be the one who made it emotional. Again.
They took her words, scrubbed her name, and left her to carry the weight of their inaction.
They used the exact phrasing from paragraph 2. Lifted bullet points directly. Not even paraphrased, which I guess is efficient.
Doing the Work airs next week on Humans in the Loop. Subscribe now so you don't miss it.